Earlier this summer, we first brought you an in-depth piece on a Milwaukee suburb's connection to the Manhattan Project and its role in helping build the atomic bomb. In part 2 of the series, Daniela Cado speaks to a local woman who shares her father's story, a man who worked his entire life for the massive corporation that gave the city its name.
Back of all Allis-Chalmers farm equipment is all the engineering know-how of the Allis-Chalmers General Machinery Division, to which all industry looks for help.
West Allis still is a nice place to live, but it was really booming at that time.
The Edward P. Allis Company was a large Milwaukee area manufacturing firm in the late 19th century. In 1901, they merged with Chicago-based Fraser-Chalmers Company, Gates Iron Works, and Dixon Manufacturing to create the industrial giant that came to be known as Allis-Chalmers.
Chances are, if you lived in West Allis, you were in some way involved with one of the companies, but most especially Allis-Chalmers.
Milwaukee Historical Society's lead archivist, Steve Schoffer, says when they bought a 100-acre lot near 70th Street and Greenfield Avenue, Allis-Chalmers placed the Milwaukee suburb on the map and, rumor has it, gave it its official name of West Allis.
Practically every household either had someone working at the plant or knew someone that worked at the plant.
Devin Graciolni, the president of the West Allis Historical Society, says Allis-Chalmers became a household name, in part because of the role they played in both war efforts.
During this Manhattan Project, where there were contributors from throughout the whole United States, the West Allis contribution, pound for pound, had more significance in that project than any other research facility or manufacturing facility in the world at the time.
He worked at Allis-Chalmers during his summer vacation when he was going to school.
Jerry Pyrick's father, Worthy Floyd Martin, worked at Allis-Chalmers for 42 years.
In 1939, he got a job at Allis-Chalmers, an internship, and he was being paid a total of 29 cents an hour.
He was an intern for 3 years before becoming full-time.
He worked in many different departments. He worked in steam turbines, pumps, compressors, centrifuges.
He actually helped sketch and design the centrifugal pumps that were utilized in the Manhattan Project to develop the atomic bomb.
He knew nothing until after the war. And when he was actually working on that project, he couldn't understand why they had to lock all their papers up at the end of the day. Every single piece of paper, just a scrap with scribbles on it or doodles, it had to be locked in a safe for some outfit down there in Oak Ridge, Tennessee.
Since the production of the atomic bomb was one of the best-kept secrets of the war, most workers at Allis-Chalmers had no idea just how global their contributions would be.
They actually had soldiers watching them doing the work. You'd think you'd get a little suspicious about that, but I don't know if he was just young or just everybody was so secretive, but he really had no idea at the time that they were working on something for the atomic bomb.
And the beat of feet sounds over the land. Feet intent on training.
In 1941, at 21 years old, Martin registered for the draft, but the Army labeled him 4F, a classification used for those deemed unfit for military service. He had an injury that never healed properly.
He credits his friend Ted Horrenda for breaking the arm during a football game, saving his life because he didn't have to go fight.
The universe had other plans for Martin. He ended up meeting the love of his life, Margaret, in his very own hometown.
He actually met my mom because she worked for Alice's also. She was in the steno pool. And he was a little shy about asking her out, but they had a little help from friends to get together.
The Martins got married in 1948, and a year later, their eldest daughter, Jerry, was born.
These are just things he saved.
After the war, he went back to college to get an engineering degree and then decided to go back to work for Allis-Chalmers.
He got to travel a little, not like people do these days, but every now and again, my mom would have to pack up a suitcase and then be off to New York or Kansas City or Los Angeles.
He became a published author and shared some of his knowledge with the world regarding the massive corporation he devoted his life to, and not knowing the atomic bomb would become the single most important development that has altered mankind.
I know a lot of families did serve in the war, And it's nice to know my father played a part in it too.